All right, guys. So it is time to have the conversation. Is Donald Trump intentionally crashing the economy? Now, I understand that sounds crazy, but when you look at the argument, honestly, the pieces sort of fit. They just do. So, and then we'll get into why he would do such a thing. So let's start with this here. It's official. The tariffs are now effectively in place. So you have 25% tariffs on all goods from Mexico to the US. That is catastrophic because we import so much from Mexico. Go look at the list. The list is endless. So basically, that's a 25% tax on anything you would buy that happens to come from Mexico. At the least a 25% tax, because some products actually cross the border twice. Okay, so we have that. We have 25% tariffs on all goods except energy from Canada to the US. 20% tariff on many goods from China to the US, 10% tariffs on energy from Canada to the US, 25% retaliatory tariffs on the $155 billion of goods from US to Canada. So, and this is just the beginning. They're also talking about potentially tariffs on the EU. So, I mean, this is, it's, you can only call it economic insanity. That's literally it. Like, this is economic insanity. And understand something, guys. I'm a person who is somewhat sympathetic to targeted tariffs, right? Because the whole idea of tariffs is what? You have a U.S. industry that's trying to compete with a foreign industry. Maybe that industry is kicking the ass of the U.S. And so one of the ways you can make the U.S. more competitive, incentivize domestic manufacturing, incentivize buying American, is you tariff the products coming in from that foreign industry that's trying to compete with your industry. But the whole point of that is to raise the price of the foreign good to make the U.S. good comparatively cheaper. So it's similar quality or potentially even better quality at a cheaper price. The tariffs can help you if they're targeted, but an across-the-board tariff is literally economic insanity. You're effectively putting at least a 25% tariff on like all goods that are imported into the country. That's mental, man. That like literally will directly lead to inflation. And then you're also looking at a recession, an economic downturn. So boom, that's stagflation. That's like the worst of all worlds economically. I should also give you this. Breaking, China will impose additional tariffs of up to 15% on imports of key U.S. farm products, including chicken, pork, soy, and beef, beginning March 10th. This follows U.S. President Donald Trump's order to raise tariffs on imports of Chinese products. So this is why Trump came out the other day and told the U.S. farmers, like, get ready to sell more domestically. Get ready to sell more domestically. Have fun. That's basically like a subtle way of being like, you guys are fuckington, and I'm just telling you that. Like, I mean, seriously shooting himself in the dick. Okay, so now let's talk about, and of course the market tanked with this news. Now, I should point out, as of right now, as I'm talking to you, the news already came out. Trump is considering either fully rolling back the tariffs or partially rolling back the tariffs. I guess he's waiting to see how horrible the economic fallout is to determine what direction he goes. But again, why? Why would he do any of this? This is all self-inflicted wounds. Why would he do it? Crystal's going to lay out the full theory here. Listen to this.
All right, guys, question today. Is Trump intentionally crashing the economy? I've been entertaining this theory a little bit more lately because his economic moves just seem so stupid and terrible and counterproductive without thinking that he is intentionally trying to cause harm. So let me go ahead and walk you through the theory and you can tell me what you think. All right, so here is what Shoykat Chakrabarti, who was an aide to AOC and himself running for Congress against Nancy Pelosi now, here's what he had to say about this theory. He says, it really is confusing why Trump would want to intentionally massively shrink the US economy. None of this is due to external circumstances. He is manufacturing a recession. But it makes sense when you realize his goal is to create something like Russia, where the economy is run by a few oligarchs loyal to him. Creating that state is hard in a large, dynamic, powerful economy with too many actors who can oppose him. So he's accelerating, concentrating money and power into the hands of his loyalists while he crashes the rest.
That should send a chill down your spine, bro. That right there. I mean, that makes sense, right? That makes sense. That's not even the full case yet either.
However, I would say that at this point, until proven otherwise, the primary actor in the government and in the economy is actually Elon. So I think it makes sense to think in terms of Elon's incentives here and what he may actually want to accomplish. And if you think back at the last economic crashes, both in COVID and in the 2008 financial crash, while initially everyone suffered, including the rich, out of both, the rich were able to buy up assets on the cheap. and emerged even wealthier and more powerful than before. So in 2000.
Also, they bailed out the wealthy, said it would trickle down, and it didn't fucking trickle down.
Not only did they get their own custom bailout, but they were able to buy up housing stock at absurdly low prices. The rich got richer than ever, inequality skyrocketed, and the big banks got bigger than ever. Same deal with the COVID era recession. So while, again, everyone suffered initially, there was a huge bailout package, which, yes, did benefit ordinary people. But if you look at who came out really on top after COVID, after all was said and done, you could see people like Elon Musk, people like Jeff Bezos, people like Mark Zuckerberg getting far wealthier. Their net worths, which were already very high, skyrocketed beyond anyone's wildest dreams.
So in other words, with every economic crash, with every massive downturn, what's happened in modern American history is we've gone closer and closer and further in the direction of a new Gilded Age, right? Where a very tiny number of people on top have everything and everybody else is a peasant and battling for the crumbs. You're a corporate slave, right? And so it sort of coincides with his ideology, doesn't it? He literally openly says the 1890s were a tremendous time. We were the most wealthy we've ever been. No, we weren't. It was like 3 people on top. Everybody else was living in tenement homes, and there were children working in factories, losing their hands to the machinery, and we were all living in immense poverty. Guys, this is dark.
So are they thinking that another economic crash would once again inure to their benefit? Here's the other piece that's worth thinking about as well. Crash and crisis leads to governments and authoritarian leaders claiming more power for themselves. They can use the crisis and the emergency as a justification for taking on extraordinary powers and for taking extraordinary measures.
Think about that. Massive economic crash, huge numbers of people get laid off, things are more expensive, bodies in the streets. Boom, Trump says, I'm declaring martial law. I'm declaring martial law. I'm invoking the Insurrection Act. You're not allowed to protest. Oh, man. We are dangerously close to, like, dystopian sci-fi futuristic novel where you have literal cartoon villains on the top. And that kind of is what Elon is and what Donald Trump is.
Again, measures that can be custom fit to primarily benefit oligarchs like Elon Musk. What's more, in both cases, the economic crash in 2008 and the COVID crash both helped to facilitate the rise of fascist governments. So in 2016, obviously Trump 1.0, and now here we are back again, Trump 2.0. Obviously, that is an aim that Elon and Trump would both themselves support. So I don't know, guys. Well, we're running around here going, like, what are they thinking with these tariffs while they're slashing government spending? Don't they know that this is going to cause a massive contraction? Can't they see the stock market crashing? Can't they understand how this is going to be devastating for the economy? Maybe they do understand, and maybe that's kind of the point.
Another possibility, just like what happened with the threat of the tariffs a month ago, the theory at that time was Trump announces these tariffs, acts like they're 100% going into place, at the last minute backs off, but when he announced that he was going to do the tariffs a day or two before, what happened? The market immediately crashed. Well, if you're an insider and you have knowledge and you know that, hey, on this day at this time, the market is going to tank, what do? You can short the market, right? So Trump and all his robber baron buddies could have, through proxies, placed bets on the market tanking, rake in a couple more billions of dollars, right? And then Trump, right after he makes his wealth from that, cashes out, and then says, oh, by the way, the tariffs, yeah, I made a deal at the last minute, so I'm going to scrap them. And who's to say that's not exactly what's going on now, too? Every theory Crystal laid out is legitimate here, and is potentially the core of what's going on. But this is what you need to understand. Even if Trump very shortly decides, actually, I'm rolling back the tariffs or I'm reducing the tariffs, which is very possible, he could have already cashed in with the insider knowledge to short the market, make even more money. So it's almost like he's using the U.S. economy and even the global economy as his plaything to continue stacking billions on top of billions on top of billions, which is very similar to what he did with his crypto scam, which launched 2 days before his inauguration. That was all planned out. It was a colossal fraud, and he got billions and billions of dollars off that, right? And now this could be a very similar thing. So look, I mean, I wish this wasn't the case. I wish that these theories were as tinfoil hattish as they seem. But given everything that we already know about what Elon is doing and what Trump is doing and what their character is, like, I think it's sort of inescapable that this is really on the menu, right? Because what are the other options? What are the other options? honestly, like, stupidity and incompetence is the biggest other option. Like, he literally just ideologically believes in tariffs and doesn't care about the downside, or thinks in the long run it's going to work out. And so it'd be mass stupidity and incompetence, which gets us to this point. And then there is a third option. The third option is tanking the economy on purpose. Why? Because he's some sort of a foreign asset, right? And he views his job as to bring down the U.S. I think that's sort of the most unlikely, and that's an extraordinary claim. It would require extraordinary evidence. But having said that, outside of stupidity and incompetence and ideological certainty about something that he's wrong about, being a foreign asset and purposely tanking it to help out him and his robber baron buddies, those are the only three options we're talking about here. Because I'll tell you what's not on the table. What's not on the table is, oh, these across-the-board tariffs are intelligent and good and will work out in the long run, and it's actually going to make America great again. I mean, that's the most preposterous of all of it, right? Yeah, the guy is making America great again by passing a budget which slashes $880 billion from Medicaid, basically takes away healthcare from poor people and disabled people all across this country. That's making America great again. Clearly, he doesn't care about the plight of the average person. Fucking clearly, right? So then why is he doing what he's doing? Look, all these theories are sound. So you guys tell me, just like Crystal laid out there, but tell me in the comment section if you find this stuff convincing, and tell me what you think it is. Is it just incompetence and stupidity? Or is he a foreign asset? Or is it exactly what Crystal laid out? Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.